going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Art Shack. This video I'm going to be... hopefully everything doesn't fall on me here. I plan to show you how to draw a snow-covered tree. I'm just looking for another pencil here because, as you can see, this one is getting a little bit ridiculously small here. So, alright, this is going over here. This keeps falling on me. Hang on. Alrighty, I found it. Alright, let's put this back up. That's my reference image for what I'm doing for this one. Alright, so I can get rid of that one. And now I have a full-size pencil to work with, which is going to be a lot easier. Alright, so let me zoom in here. That way everyone can kind of get a better idea of what's going on here. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I did mention I'm going to be drawing a snow-covered tree, right? Okay, so I'm going to draw a basic line. You know, I'm sketching it horribly, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a guide to kind of tell me how tall the tree's going to be. So it's about 4 inches or so. You know, nothing too substantial here. Let me zoom in a little bit more without shaking the camera tremendously here. All right, so I posted up a photo of this the basic snow-covered tree up on Facebook, and you know, within 30 or 40 minutes of me posting it, it already had 20 some odd likes, and a couple hours from there, you know, it's up to like almost like something like 50 thumbs up, and I was like, okay, so it seems like everyone enjoyed this one. So that was my hope. You know, I wanted to draw a snow-covered tree, and just to kind of see how it would go over with the audience, and I was really hoping it would go over well. So, and the general consensus across the board was, draw this now. I need a tutorial, you know, right away. So I was like, okay. So that's what I'm doing now, and I'm glad it came out. You know, it went over really well with everyone. You know, because it's a fairly simple concept to do. I think it's my third or fourth attempt at it. You know, during this video, I wanted to practice a bit more before actually going ahead full steam and making the tutorial for it. So hopefully this one will come out a little bit better than the original drawing that I did, and I'll be able to give you the full pronunciation of how to be able to draw it. All right, so let's talk about the drawing now, shall we? So with this drawing, I'm basically drawing in all the patches of snow, and that will show up. And if it helps, you can always sort of start at the top here and draw a very, very light cone shape, just so that it'll help you with the overall shape of your tree. And hopefully, if the autofocus doesn't go crazy on me, I don't want to turn it off because I'm going to be zooming in and out periodically during this video just to kind of show you the details. It'll fix itself as I draw more. It'll stop doing that. Hopefully. That's what I hope. Or if I have my hand in here more, it should stop doing that. Okay. So I'm basically drawing in the shapes of the snow patches that are going to be covering the tree. And I've been really kind of experimenting with how these, you know, sort of look, and it's quite interesting to see all the different patterns that happen, you know, in the real world. So I'm trying to incorporate as much of that as I possibly can for this, and I enjoyed the way this one came out. You know, the first one at least. We'll see how this one comes out, huh? But I'm gonna erase out the main trunk of the tree there. I can always draw it back in later when I know where the snow is gonna be. Alright, so I have that patch, and I can draw another one. Let me draw a smaller one in here. I want to vary the effect of this tree. We'll draw a smaller snow patch right in there. And we'll have something a bit larger coming in over here. And I'm keeping this line kind of jagged and a bit organic, I guess you could say. Just to, it helps to add to the effect. And also having a sharp pencil helps as well. It always does. I'm going off my reference, the first drawing that I did, just to kind of give me ideas as I'm drawing this one for different things that I can do. Alright, just kind of working that out. I'm going to erase the guidelines that I made for the cone. I find that it's a little bit distracting for me, but it may help you a lot, so feel free to keep them there if you like. I'm just going to take them away. It kind of distracts me from the way the tree is supposed to look, but that's just me. So I'm going to draw in a pretty large patch of snow right here. And kind of have something branching off of it over here. And something right here. I'm still on camera, right? Yeah, I think I'm okay. I don't want to be drawing off camera. Everyone's going to be like, I can't see what you're doing, man. It's always funny. Alright. So it's something kind of like this. You can start to go in with the shading. Oh, and I guess I should mention that you only really need one pencil for this. I'm using a B pencil. And just, the tough stuff eraser stick is always something that I use. And then just a blending stump. But if you don't have a blending stump, a Q-tip will work just fine. Alright, so hopefully you can kind of see this relatively well. Let me go back in and sort of darken things up just a little bit, so that way you can kind of get a better idea what's going on. But this is basically what's going on in here. So you can draw this differently if you see fit. I've drawn, like I said, I've drawn this about 3 or 4 times, and every one of them looks slightly different, and they all look pretty good. Alright, so with that in mind, I'm going to zoom in a bit, about there. And I'll just have to keep an eye on the camera so that way I don't, go off camera here with this. Okay. So I'm going to start off with the top of the tree here. You want to make sure you keep your pencil nice and sharp. So this is going to be the very, very tippy top of the tree here. I'm going to have some branches kind of working its way out from the snow that's on here. And remember, basically the shapes of these, the snow, it's really going to be weighing down the branches of the tree. Because snow is mostly, it's frozen water, essentially. So it's going to be really weighing down on those tree branches quite significantly. And then you also want to put a pretty heavy layer of shadow underneath where the snow is going to be, and I'm going to erase out this side a bit there. There we go, that's better. And then you just need to go underneath. And then where the snow ends, I like to put a branch kind of making its way out from underneath the snow. Just like that. And we'll have another one kind of working out its way out from this little bit here. And just kind of add in a bit more shadow underneath. Right there, just like that. Alright, you start working on this area. And there's going to be a nice thick tree branch connecting from here to here. Let's have a tree branch kind of coming out right here. So basically wherever there's a point on the snow, I'm going to have a small tree branch making its way out. So I have one there, one here, and then underneath the snow, I'm just going to put a general layer of shading, and I don't want to put in too much detail underneath there. But underneath the snow, like I said, you want to put in a pretty thick layer of shadow. It's just going to really help to make that snow pop. And right here, we can have a branch making its way out. Bit of shadow underneath here. Let's have one branch coming out here. And another one right there. Let's have another little one like that. And just put a bit of shadow underneath that. Alright, working. Still on camera, right? There we go. Alright, cool. I don't want to work off camera here. Alright, let's put the trunk of the tree back on this. So that way you can just get a hint of it as it kind of goes here. Alright, let's add a bit more shadow underneath here. We've got a tree branch right there. We can add a little one kind of poking out right here. Let's have one kind of coming right along here. So it's just a kind of getting the feel for where some tree branches are going to be making their way out from the snow. But just keep in mind, I guess wherever there's a point in the snow here, it's I guess it's safe to say you can have a tree branch kind of making its way out from there. It gives it a nice look. I really like the way this kind of it's a bit of a cartoony sort of look, I feel. I think it's mainly because the snow is outlined, and we're going to be working on that later and fixing that up so that way we can give it a nice polished look. But if you want to keep the cartoony feel, you can always make that outline around the snow a bit more predominant, and then it'll really start to give it that nice cartoony styled look. But it all depends on what kind of an effect you're going for with your landscape. Alright, let's get some shadow underneath here. Nice big patch of snow. Just something like this. Have a nice branch sticking out right there. Have one right about there, and then we'll have like a little one making its way out right there. So, because I'm imagining these snow patches are covering up pretty large amounts of tree branches that are hidden underneath. So that's why I'm drawing so many tree branches kind of making their way out. I'll put it a bit darker underneath than here. I'll work my way underneath in here, same as in here. It's just a matter of adding in the texture and detail underneath the snow just to kind of give it that added effect. Let's have a branch. That looks terrible. Let's fix that up a bit. Let's have a tree branch kind of working its way out right here. Need to sharpen the pencil. It's not really doing as well as it should. And I'll move the drawing up. Let me fix this one. Use the paintbrush to clean away the eraser shavings. I'm just going to kind of leave it like that. But we can have a couple branches sticking out from underneath here. Let me put in some line detail up in here. Alright, we can start putting some shadow underneath this part. It's basically rinse and repeat for every part of this tree. You just want to add in details. Alright. Have a couple branches coming out right there. make this shadow much darker right underneath the snow. And we're pretty much almost done with the shadow here, or the shading. The shading I'm not really too worried about adding in too much detail for. It's all going to come together in the end and give it a nice overall look. But if you can get the shadow and detail in for one part of the tree, you can do it for the rest. But as you work your way down and the tree gets larger and larger, it sometimes gets difficult to add in that detail work. But I think the top part of the tree is really what sells it. If you can get the top of the tree to look nice, the rest of it just kind of works with it, and it gives it a nice overall look. And I'll show you when I zoom out how the tree looks with everything. Add a couple branches sticking out of this. I get the shadow going in here. Let me move it up a bit. Need a lot of branches coming out of this part here. I'm going to try to add in a bit more line detail underneath here, just to kind of bring back some of the texture. But you can play with it and see what you like. Alright, and here we are at the bottom of the tree. And then I'm going to zoom out and I'll go back in different areas and darken them up just to kind of give it a nice look. And then when you're at the bottom here, you can just kind of, I'll show you what it looks like when it's kind of on some sort of surface here. I'm just going to put in a general shading like that. Nothing too special there. Alright, let me zoom out. And then look at where we got. Not too bad. It's still got quite a bit of work left to go. But let me go back in underneath these trees, and after I sharpen my pencil, I should have like 6 B pencils ready to go. That way I don't have to keep sharpening. But it's okay, I'll work with what I got. And then I'm going to add, with a nice sharp pencil, I'm going to add in some more branches and things like that, kind of working its way out from the center here. I'm also going to try and really darken up underneath these patches of snow to really kind of bring them out. And we are probably about 85% done with this. All that's left to do is just to take that blending stump and work on the snow areas, just to kind of make them look a bit more realistic. But I'm just going to go back in and work a bit more on the shadow and detail, just last minute touches in here. I'm just kind of darkening some areas in and adding a bit more detail here and there. Nothing too much. Add a bit right in here. I'm gonna add in like 1 or 2 areas of more snow. Get some smaller patches going in. I think that'll work. Alright. Alright, so as you can see, I can do this all day. It usually takes someone to restrain me before I stop adding in detail and perfecting everything. But I want to try and make this in a timely manner. I'm already at 20 minutes, and let's see if I can finish this up within the next couple of minutes here. Alright, so hopefully you'll have something that looks something like this. And when you have something like this, all you need is a blending stump. And then you can kind of go back in to the areas of snow and kind of carry up some of that shadow. And it'll help to give it a nice modeling effect in some of these areas, and you can kind of blend out that line that you have a bit. You're still going to see it here and there, but it gives you a nice looking tree. Let me zoom in, that way everyone can get an idea of what's going on, and hopefully the autofocus fixes. There we go, nice and zoomed in. So you want to take that blending stump or Q-tip or whatever you can find that'll do the job, and just kind of work the shadow, the dark shadow that we put in, and work it up into that snow, and kind of do it in a circular type motion. That way you can get a nice even distribution of graphites on the paper, technical terms, and just kind of play around with it, kind of bring it up. And just go to town with it, but don't go too crazy. I think there's a limit on the craziness you can do in a drawing. Okay. Keep the camera on the drawing, and just kind of work your way down. This is probably the fastest part of the drawing for me. All the detail work is done. You're just playing with the blending stump now. And with me, it helps having a dirty blending stump, because I can just, I never seem to run out of graphite on this thing. But what you can do is take a scrap piece of paper and take a dark pencil and make a really dark patch of shading on it. Then you can take a Q-tip and kind of dip it on there and get the Q-tip nice and full of graphite, and then bring it back on here, kind of like what I'm doing. That's something you can do. Or if you have like powdered graphite or powdered charcoal, maybe not powdered charcoal, but powdered graphite would work really nice as well. We work on this little area here, and then I got this little patch here. Something like this. Then when I'm all done, I'll zoom out. That way you can get a nice, good look at how this turns out. And then we'll call it a finished drawing tutorial. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Let me zoom on back out. And there we go. Let me zoom back in for full frame there. And that is the completed snow-covered tree. And this is, of course, a pine tree. And I think that's the most appropriate type of tree to draw for, a tree to be snow-covered with. But, hey, if you want me to see what a different type of tree it looks like when it's snow-covered, feel free to leave it in. And we'll see how things turn out. But I hope you all enjoyed this one. Please give it a thumbs up. It always helps out. And I hope you enjoyed this one. Like I said 1,000 times already. And I will see you all later. Take care.